This is Professor Raymond Noby, Department of Ancient History, log entry number 2. I believe I have made a significant find in the castle of Kandar. It was in the rear chamber of the castle that we stumbled upon something remarkable. Naturam de Monto, the Book of the Dead. My wife and I brought the book to this cabin, where I could study it undisturbed. It was here that I began the translations. Kanda, Estrata, Montos, Iris, Gath, Nosferatu, Kanda, Montos, Kanda.
Sometimes that is better.
Bobby Joe! Bobby Joe!
Swallow your soul. Swallow your soul. Swallow your soul.
I
Swallow
swallow
your
your
soul.
soul! I swallow your soul!
You don't have
I
to
didn't
eat the
even eat
mic,
it.
Nate.
We're doing Evil Dead 2,
You
boys!
swallowed it. Woo!
Pete didn't say anything, but he's really happy.
I know.
he's
He's
just
like
pumping
really
his
excited
fist.
and not a peep come out
I was
of
waiting
me.
to be
No,
introduced
yeah.
so I could go,
There's
Dead
nothing.
by Dawn! Dead by Dawn! Ah! Dead by Dawn!
Dead by Dawn! Dead by Dawn!
Dead
Dead
by
by Dawn!
Ratu! Garada!
That's the next movie. We gotta wait for that one.
Oh, damn it. I forgot. We got to save that? I can't save that.
Yeah.
We're
gonna
gonna talk
reference
about
We
it.
have to.
We got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, boys, what's happening?
Hi,
All right,
everybody.
Nate, get this introduction.
It is I,
yeah,
Nate.
let's do it.
And with me, as always, Charlie. Say hello, Charlie. And
That's
then I
me.
got Pete with us
is
on this
me.
one.
Dead by Dawn! Hello!
Oh, I'm drinking a terrible beer tonight. I'm not a fan of this.
You really are. You showed us that beer, and I was like,
Hot candy
I'm
beer
out.
should not
Nope.
happen. I feel like I got heartburn
Yeah,
from
I
it
was-
not cool.
after 3 sips.
I was
There's-
already not a fan of it
Yeah,
when you showed me the
really
can. So
I was a fan, and then you told me what was in it, and then I was definitely not a fan.
no. He's
Killer
drinking-
Clowns.
Yeah. It
Cotton
has
candy
clowns
beer.
on
Nope.
it. No, that's
Nope.
just a no for me.
Oh, there's just
I
straight up
am out.
clowns.
Just straight out. If there's a clown on it, I am out.
So clown workout videos are also out for you.
Totally out. Yeah, I watched that today. Thanks. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Benny.
Looking out for you.
Yep. Yep. The only thing better would have been spiders.
Ugh.
Oh,
Spider clown.
Oh,
yes.
well, the good news is we are doing Evil Dead 2, and it's a Pete pick.
If they couldn't tell.
You're damn right, it's a Pete pick.
Finally.
You
Pete
guys said,
Pete brings
"Hey,
the universe
what
together.
Halloween movie do you?" Right. What Halloween movie do you just love? I'm like, well, I like this. Like, screw it. Evil Dead 2, bitches.
Girl!
Done. Done.
And you guys didn't
No
even blink.
questions
You're like, yep,
asked.
done.
Now-
Nope. Let's do it. Let's go.
This has been a movie that obviously has been wanting to get covered for quite a while, but also in the same frame, it's like it's one of those bigger than everything kind of moments. And how do you go about tackling the series? And I remember there was even one day I was mowing and I stopped mowing and like text both of you like, what if we did 1, 2, and 3, and then did every episode of the show? You know, there's been a lot of troubleshooting.
Oof.
Like there was even a part of me today going, should this been a 2-parter? But I feel like we can do this on a nice run.
I think we can get this done in one. I think
Well,
we can get this done in
We
one.
can get this movie done in one, but we can't cover the whole
No,
franchise
no, we're not even
in
going to
a single
attempt.
episode. I mean, there.
No,
there
I
is-
think Nate wanted to do like, let's start here, and then every episode, like even every episode of
Yeah,
Ash
like I
versus
was
the Evil
like,
Dead,
we could just
got
get
its own
But then
episode.
there's like, turns out that's a lot of time. But a lot of it is just
there's some merit in that if you want to dedicate all of this show to that.
yeah.
I mean, that would just be a whole sideshow. It's like,
It's like an entire season.
give me back
right
my
there.
horror movies versus
Yes.
The Evil Dead. I mean, that's
Give me
kind of what
back.
that would
Give me
turn out to
back
be.
my Ash Williams.
Ooh, I kind of like that. That's a little sexy. Yeah.
We can't get too far ahead of ourselves. I say we just drop the trailer, get the VHS read, and get going.
Let's do it.
We can do it.
4 years ago, in this quiet forest, in this cozy cabin, something happened. Something so frightening. Something so deadly. Something so evil. We prayed it would never happen again. Now, from the creator of Evil Dead comes Evil Dead 2. Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn.
What a trailer.
Yeah.
Dead by
Oh, yeah.
Dawn.
Dead by Dawn. Swallow your soul. Swallow your soul.
Yeah.
That's good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, boys,
Nate's not the only voice actor in the group.
don't worry. My voice acting career is going to take off. I promise.
I'm on your
As we
side.
should be.
Let's
That's
get
it.
that. Let's get that rolling.
This is a lot to unpack right here. I tell you what, before we unpack that though, let's do what we would have picked it off of. Let's do the back of the VHS cover.
From my official VHS copy. Ash, the sole survivor of the Evil Dead, returns to the same isolated cabin deep in the woods with his girlfriend Annie. The two discover a mysterious tape recorder and hear the voice of Professor Nobi reciting passages from the Necronomicon, or Book of the Dead. Little do they know that the professor's words are powerful enough to invoke a spell that unleashes the spirit of evil alive in the remote forest surrounding them. Watch in terror as the plot sickens and the supernatural demons invade the cabin on a gory crusade for human victims. In desperation, Ash attempts to escape his horrific fate by battling with the gruesome ghouls with the help of some unexpected visitors. However, he discovers that he is no match for the unspeakable creatures lurking behind every door and waiting behind every corner.
Yeah. And it's ghouls, not goals.
Close enough.
Ghouls.
Ghouls. Ghouls.
Sometimes it's hard when you're trying to just talk real fast and get that thing done with.
You're doing a fine job. You're doing a fine job.
Hey guys, I got to know when did you first come across this movie? We all have a story, I'm sure.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll start off with Pete's question of the first introduction to Evil Dead 2. Mine was Army of Darkness.
Oh,
Because
interesting.
I didn't know anything about these movies until my dad brought home a movie and went, it looks like medieval and it looks like some really cool like skeleton army things back of the VHS cover. And so we popped it in there and I fell in love immediately. And it was probably another month or so later that I realized there were movies before that. And I had to jump into them. And I went backwards. I went Evil Dead 2 next. And I watched it before I saw the original Evil Dead. I kind of feel like that helps it a little bit, just being able to start there, knowing that Army of Darkness was after that, because, you know, it obviously lands that way, kind of. With, again, stuff we'll save for our Army of Darkness episode. But yeah, I was introduced to this because of Army of Darkness, and I have loved this movie ever since. I watched this regularly, if not once a year, maybe once every couple of years when I, think about it. So, Nate.
Oh, well, I am in the same boat as you, Charlie. I saw Army of Darkness first as a kid, but I didn't know what it was. So that's very important. I just remember seeing this movie that I really liked as a kid a lot, where a man fought tiny versions of himself.
Yeah. Gulliver's Travels, man.
True.
Fast forward to the summer of 8th grade year, I'm browsing sci-fi and I come across that same movie. And this is leading into my freshman year, so it blows my mind. I now know it's called Army of Darkness. This must have been around the time when they were doing a push of re-releases, because it happened to be my mom and I went to Kmart and I saw a DVD called The Evil Dead. And that's when everything started to come full circle, that this was actually a trilogy. And I remember that the back of the DVD saying, like, this movie made for like a budget of $375,000 or something like that. It's a DVD I still have on my shelf to this day. So then after getting Evil Dead 1 on DVD, I couldn't find 2 for the life of me until Springfield used to do these like flea markets at the campgrounds. And I found a VHS copy of Evil Dead 2, and I still had a VCR in my bedroom. So for $5, I snagged that bad boy up and was finally able to experience Evil Dead 2. And I remember after seeing Evil Dead 2 going, Army of Darkness makes so much more sense now, because
really
of all of the amazing, brutal horror that you get from this movie and all the blood. But also you see Ash just completely lose his mind. And that's why he's such slapstick in Army of Darkness. It's like, well, after everything he's experienced in 1 and 2, this journey makes perfect sense now.
The cabin makes more sense after you watch the first 2
Oh, sure.
than when you watch Army of Darkness and all of a sudden he's at a cabin in the middle of the woods. So the first time you watch that, you're like, okay, this is weird. What's going on? And then you watch these other movies going, oh, there's a whole thing that we're supposed to know before we watch Army of Darkness.
It's an easier transition, or the transition between 2 and Army of Darkness makes a lot more sense than the original Evil Dead into Evil Dead 2.
It's funny because they didn't have the rights for 1
to
make 2.
The original film.
They didn't have the rights for 2 to make 3.
And then they didn't have the rights for 3 to do the TV series.
For at least the first season. I think they finally got the... Yeah,
I think it's the first
they eventually
2
got it
seasons.
worked out.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those, like, God bless this series for being able to, like, get as far as it has.
You think Sam Raimi would have learned after the first time.
Right,
It's like, come on. Pete, what about you, man? What's your first introduction to Evil Dead?
I remember seeing an advertisement for Army of Darkness in Fangoria in high school, like when I was a senior or something, maybe a freshman in college. And I thought to myself, well, that's dumb. Why are they doing a sequel to Evil Dead 2? And then I thought to myself, oh shit, I haven't seen Evil Dead 2. Maybe I should do that before I go see Army of Darkness. So that's what I did. I went and I found, I remember seeing the cover of Evil Dead 2 in the Video Connection, the Blockbusters, whatever.
Iconic cover.
And that was a video that Mom and Dad would not let me rent. Oh, just because, like, I don't know about that one. And I forgot about it until I read about it in like late high school or college. And then I realized, well, shit, I haven't seen this. So I went back and I watched it. And I swear it was like my freshman year in college, because I had a bunch of friends around a TV just watching it and hooting and hollering, and then going to the theater and watching it and going around and hooting and hollering about that one too. That there are a few movies that are life-changing. This was one of those movies that just wowed me to the point of, this film is life-changing. This has brought horror and comedy in a perfect dance. This is a perfect ballet of horror and comedy. And I mean, truly, there was scary parts. Truly, there were gory parts. Truly, there were like parts. And truly, there were laugh out loud parts. It's marvelous. Just marvelous. And it might have been like years later that I saw the original Evil Dead, because I thought I had seen it, but then I want to say like maybe after college I went, oh, I'll watch this one again, and going, holy shit, I've never seen this before. And just having another revelation of what is this franchise? This is marvelous. And then slowly digging into who all these people are, the Sam Raimis, the Ted Raimis, the Bruce Campbells, and all who are involved in this.
I love how basically we've all went backwards through the franchise.
Yes,
Right.
This is how
I
it
think there was a
really
lot
is.
of that. There was a lot of that. You had to be a certain age to see the original. And they were the first and the second were so spaced out that it's almost another generation that had seen that. And being you could call them grindhouse at the time. But the original would certainly have been in the drive-ins. The second one, you're talking the tail end of the drive-ins. And then Army of Darkness was definitely theaters.
It was
that was
their
first,
big,
right.
So you had the first one that definitely didn't get released to a lot of theaters.
Exactly.
It was definitely low budget. The problem that happened with the second one is it got released as unrated. So a lot of places weren't going to touch it. The reason why we couldn't find the VHSs younger was most places didn't grab those. They're like, it's unrated. It's not going to rent. We're not going to waste money on it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of them were mom and pop stores that even R-rated movies they were particular on getting. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense why Nate had so much trouble trying to find it, or why I skipped over it well into my teenage years till, you know, Army of Darkness, which I had Anthony watched it for the first time last year because I was like, this is like the perfect movie to like start introducing horror. You know, it was we did Army of Darkness, we did like Frighteners, stuff like that easing them in, but they're still scary enough where you're like, oh, I felt like I watched something, you know. Not
I might try that, Charlie, with my 9-year-old nephew, like Army of Darkness. I might try that.
Army of Darkness.
He doesn't care about the stuff previous, and we'll get to that later on.
Yeah, there's less blood in it.
Idea.
It's very adventure driven. It's a lot better. There's scary instances, but it's not gory instances. It's the same reason I always like Frighteners. It's not gory scary, but there's jump scares in it. There's stuff that you're just like, oh shit, what's that?
Just as a horror fan, you appreciate so much.
Yeah.
I want to say it was like my sophomore year in high school. The local paper used to like have like students interview each other and they'd rotate through the local schools. And one of them for our school of that week was, what is your favorite movie? I remember saying The Evil Dead. And then, like, my dad being pissed that there's a picture of me with just the words "The Evil Dead" below me, no context, or it just says favorite movie. I remember, like, my old middle school principal running into me at like the local grocery store that was like 10 minutes from my house. I'm just like, oh, I saw you in the paper. This Evil Dead. Like, everything okay? Like.
Are you a Satanist now?
Yeah, basically. Like, I remember my mom getting that phone call at one point from some kids at London High School that I didn't even go to, being like, there's a rumor that Nate's a Satanist at that school. I'm like, I don't even know anyone at this school. Like, how?
Other than the Satanist part, I've almost got you beat. I took art class later in high school, and I was really into the horror movies at that point. So I made like this dragon claw hand. And then I made a bowl that fit into his hand with horns. But inside the bowl, I put an eyeball with blood and all kinds of stuff around it. My art teacher's like, well, I can't really say anything because it's art. He's being creative. And so it was like ceramics. She fired it, did the painting and everything. It was gory as all get out. And she put everything out in the display case outside the classroom for everyone to see. Mine lasted about 2 days before the teachers and the principal made the art teacher take mine out and put it back in the classroom.
It's so funny how like nowadays all this like stories we're telling is so tame.
Yeah, this is nothing. But I was Satan in school. Of course, me and Benny wore metal shirts. So Benny had the giant Slayer head t-shirt that had the demon head on it that was the full shirt length. I had Ozzy Osbourne holding a sign saying hell and he's hitchhiking, and that's what I wore all the time. So we were the resident Satanists at my high school, even though we weren't. We just loved heavy metal South, and gory stuff. Oh yeah, Bible Belt, man. We're the buckle. Yeah, that's all it is.
True that.
But good times, man.
I remember it was shortly after moving to Columbus, getting to see all three of them in theaters as a triple feature.
Ooh, where'd you see that?
Out in Bexley.
Is at the Drexel?
Yeah, so they did 1 and
Nice.
2 in
Ah.
35 millimeter
Oh,
with
so good.
35 millimeter horror trailers in between.
Oh my
Army of Darkness
God.
was just like the Blu-ray rip of it that they showed, but that
Right.
went from like 11 p.m. till I want to say like 6:30. I was exhausted, but finally being able to experience like these movies I adore on the
I'd
big
have sat through it.
screen, the
I'd
way
have,
they
I'd
are
have, I'd have
supposed to be
planned that.
seen. Yeah, I did not fall asleep. There were people, dropping left and right. That drive home was brutal, but it was so worth it.
I'd have slept on my car in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're
I
in
should've.
Bexley. You're in Bexley. What's gonna happen in
Yeah.
Bexley? You know?
The cops are going to say, "Hey, oh, you're white. It's fine."
Yeah, pretty much. When it comes to Bexley, yeah.
Sorry, Bexley. It's
Wow. Aren't you there this weekend, Pete?
Yeah, we play Sunday in Bexley. Oh shit.
Thankfully, this will come out after, so you're fine.
Yeah, you'll be
I
good.
ain't editing any of that. That's gold. All right, boys. Well, how do we do this, man? How do we?
I don't know.
I don't
How-
know, man.
We're gonna
like,
fan. on
we
this
just
so
fanboy
hard.
and drool over Bruce Campbell the whole time.
Do we just
Let-
do we want to do like actors and then like special effects and because I
Sure.
would assume most people here know about the story. I mean, the
Yeah, like,
cabin
we
is
don't need to cover
revised, he gets possessed.
Evil
we don't need
Buzz.
to synopsize. Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
think we need to do that at all.
no.
It's been done.
I think we. Well, I'll tell you
yeah.
what. Let's do it this way then. Let's just kind of we'll go from the beginning of the movie, but we'll do this a little differently. I got it. Nate, you okay with this? I don't want to take you
drive.
under on the
Drive,
horror
Charlie.
side.
We'll follow.
Well,
you.
like, what are you thinking?
Well, no. What I'm thinking is, how do you feel about this opening to Evil Dead 2 as compared to where Evil Dead left off? How do you feel about how this movie starts off with the change
To
of lore?
me, this is how I've always looked at the moment that the movie starts as the sequel is where Bruce Campbell gets hit by the spirit or
entity.
whatever you want to call it. Yeah, the entity, and then him slamming into the tree, falling into the puddle. To me, that is officially where Evil Dead 2 starts. The rest of it is just recap that they did for the sake of, hey, like, we did.
But
do
it's
a
not
first one.
recap though. But it is different. That's kind of my
Imagine
thing. Is
though if you had to do a recap and you had to do like 4 more actors and actresses though. So I think it was just like to make it simple and to take a 90-minute movie and narrow it down to 6 minutes as quickly as possible.
okay,
And to
that's
have
fair.
the effectiveness of his girlfriend coming back from the grave, doing the beautiful ballet dance in stop motion,
Mhm.
and then attacking him with a chainsaw.
Yeah.
Like for me, like that is all like true Evil Dead 2. That's what makes this like the official like sequel part.
Right, because Sam Raimi ended the first one as Ash died.
Ash
Like
dies.
Yes.
the entity got him. He's dead.
And it's the same thing
So-
though, the way this movie ends, Ash is praised as the hero in the,
Yeah.
past. But then as soon as Army of Darkness opens up, he is, kicked and instantly put into the slave trade, and they all hate him.
Yeah. We'll get to that when we get closer to the end. But if what do you think, Pete? What did you think of how this began?
Well, it makes sense. Everything that Bruce Campbell and all the others who have been interviewed about this, it is a direct sequel. And the reason they did it this way, it's kind of a synopsis because they, as we said earlier, they didn't have the rights to the original movie to put clips in, or they would have.
Right.
And they, it's a low budget affair. So they paid Bruce Campbell and one other gal instead of, what was it, 5 other people?
Yeah, something like
There's
that.
a total of
Yeah.
5 or 6 people in the 5 people in the original.
I think it was
Anywho,
5. Was it 3
there were
guys,
2
2
couples
girls?
and
No, 2
Bruce's
guys,
or
3 girls.
2
Ash's
guys,
sister.
3 girls. That's right.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
yeah.
right.
Yeah. So you just had to, for budget's sake and time's sake and rights sake, I suppose, you just had to condense it and say, okay, we're going to kind of synopsize that first story and then go right into the sequel. And it's a direct sequel. It's not that Ash went back to the cabin that some people have said. Like this is
Right. That's the
this is a
No, this is
misconception.
him
sequel
still
where-
at the cabin.
where Ash left and came back with another girl. No, that's not what it
This
is.
is
And
night
even Bruce
2.
Campbell has said that. It's like, no. This is a direct sequel from the from where Nate said, from Bruce Campbell popping up out of that puddle as a deadite, and the son exercising that demon. That's where Evil Dead 2 starts, and I am 100% cool with that. That makes my soul happy, and I'm all right with it. If you had to kind of manipulate the beginning of it just so we could get this shit cooker rolling.
No, that works. That's actually a perfect segue to what you're talking about. Maybe we can talk a little bit about the special effects. One of my favorite in the movie, other than there's always the ones that everyone remembers, but one of my favorite like actual like effects they did that you're like, how they do that was the eye with the mist rolling out as if he's becoming possessed.
Yes.
And how they did it was a enlarged face appliance of Bruce Campbell.
Yeah, that was
a fake eye,
a puppet for the.
But it was just that one half.
It wasn't Bruce Campbell doing that. It was a
no.
thing.
They did this in a parking lot. They said.
Yes,
and they injected this liquid-filled eye with like milk or some kind of white liquid that had that consistency. And as they pushed it in there, it swirled and made the eye white. Well, most of this movie is filmed in reverse. So they reversed that film, and it looks like the possession is leaving his body, and then they run it right into this beautiful shot of the fog and mist returning back into the woods. And it's a beautiful shot. It's one of my favorite, like, just entire aspects, from Ash being possessed out of the puddle to the sunlight to how everything is shot to where all of a sudden now it's back calm. And then his dumbass passes out and it's almost nighttime again.
Hey, man, after the events of Evil Dead 1, you're going to need a good nap.
I don't
a good
doubt that
8-hour
at all.
nap, right?
Yeah, sometimes after a long day at work,
necessary.
I just need a good nap. So if I'm fighting demons all night, I'm probably going to need a double nap.
Absolutely.
I would say even with like the special effects, just this movie is still very hard to top, on top of how much blood is spilt in it.
Yeah. I think Brain Dead still has the record.
Sure.
Brain Dead probably does.
right.
I mean, that honestly makes sense. And this coming a couple years before Brain Dead, and probably a very similar budget. I didn't look into it for this one. But just like the effect of how much blood, and then we also get the same like reverse effect of having all the blood go back into the walls, you know?
All those type of shots, the fun thing, while I think it helps with the charm of the movie that it's not just this absolute bloodbath, it is also kind of like this damn it moment for, I would have to imagine, for Sam and everyone that made the movie. Was they were contracted to make an R-rated movie. That was what they had to do. So they cut back on the blood and did the green goo, the black goo,
The blue.
He's got blue on him at some point.
Love it so much.
The
though,
white,
like,
and they
The
still
MPAA
got hit with an
still-
X rating.
Mm-hmm.
So it was still like all of that for not, like, there's even stuff they cut from the movie that to this day they're like, why did we cut that? It still came out as X-rated. Why did we care? And it's
At
just
that point,
the process of
You're not
movie
getting around the
making
X
and
rating.
editing.
You might as well just leave it all in.
But that's such a damn it moment. Like you know you're done and you can't go redo all those shots where you're like, well, there's green on the walls now. Now we love it. Now you look at it going, I love all the different colors and slimes and goos, and you think of, like, I like the black now, like, personifies like demon blood. They don't have red blood. They don't have any, green is now aliens. Demons have black blood, and that tar looking shit that just covers them in this movie just screams demon, screams another dimension.
so what's also cool, if this being a sequel and we get all the new characters and how they're introduced, with it being Nobi's daughter was actually out overseas trying to get more pages of the book to bring to her father. And, we get was it tow truck driver and, his girlfriend and how they get involved into it, and seeing that the bridge that leads to this cabin has been completely ripped apart. Like, we see that they have a bigger budget and that they are stronger filmmakers. And I love, like, comparing that between the first two. Like the first one's raw and dirty, and the second one still very dirty and raw, but like it's cleaned up in a way, you know, because you get to see the grand scale of what they're going for.
Yeah. You weren't just in the cabin or just in the outskirts of the woods.
Yeah, we're getting to see the outside of the woods. We're getting to see where they were traveling, getting on the plane, coming back.
Yeah, there was
home.
an airport scene. There's a whole like there's nothing flying, which I thought that's clever. She comes off of an airplane, so you're not paying anyone to fly that damn thing, fuel, anything like that. It's called, hey man, I want to film your airplane for like 3 hours. You cool with that? Yeah, go ahead. I don't care what you do. Just don't start the damn thing.
And like
You know,
one of the things
really
that
all
I
it
think is so brilliant about this movie is while it's setting up these plot devices and gives us a reason to have more people come to the cabin, we have Bruce Campbell being a one-man extravaganza.
Oh my God, man. The hell he gets put through in this is just insane.
Full frontal Bruce Campbell through half the film.
He is, through the first like half of the film almost. It's just him acting alone.
With very
He's
little
all
dialogue.
Three Stooges.
He is.
He really is. And that's everyone knows by now, if you've watched any of these movies or you followed any of the like documentaries, Sam Raimi is a freaking Three Stooges fangirl, period. He loves them to death. And this movie is the perfect personification of Three Stooges, yet the damage actually hurts. And the damage actually causes damage. You know, if you get poked in the eyes in the Three Stooges show, nothing happens. You get poked in the eye in the Evil Dead series, your eyeballs are going to come out of your head. You know, that's the trade-off. Now we're going to make a horror version of the Three Stooges.
We get Bruce Campbell slapping so many plates across his face. We get him
he flips
thrashing
himself
in a kitchen. Flips himself.
He flips himself. That's not camera trickery. He flipped his damn self.
Sam loves to beat up Bruce, so they did multiple takes of this. There's multiple items being destroyed. You know,
I would watch a reel of just Sam taking. It's like, okay, Bruce, this is what you need to do: hit yourself with that plate and hit yourself with that plate. I was just watching a whole reel of that.
Now that bowl. Now that glass.
One of my favorites. One of my favorites is after he gets done knocking himself out with plates and such, his possessed hand at that point is dragging him across the floor. It makes me laugh every time because it's so perfectly done.
It is the best hand acting I think ever put to film. The way that like his hand just
when that hand is possessed, it is so iconic. I don't think any film has ever done anything like that since. I mean, and effectively, maybe there's some little bit. I don't know. I've never seen
because you get the Addams family, but the hand was dismembered. You know, it was
right. It's
a hand on its own.
Right. But,
this is attached to him.
I don't think I've ever seen that, and I don't think you could ever do that because it was done way too well in this film for anyone to ever parody it or even do an homage to it. It's just done so damn well.
One movie comes to mind, and they literally were doing it as an homage, but they didn't try to copy it. Was Idle Hands. When
I was about to say Idle Hands.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Does.
You don't know Idle Hands?
I don't know that one. Nope.
You would like
it. Dude, stoner horror. Horror.
Okay.
Devon Sawa, and
Seth
while
Green.
they don't they don't copy Evil Dead, it's definitely that's where they're getting their influence from, and they do it so well. And I really encourage you to watch that movie.
I will. I got
soon.
that written down. Yep.
Yeah.
Soon.
But yeah, it's one of the.
It's the movie where it made Nate go, "Oh, I really like Jessica Alba."
There you go.
Oh,
yep. In her little angel costume for the Halloween party. Yep.
Hey, it was 1999. You have a little 11-year-old, 12-year-old Nate.
and
Nate's awakening.
And Nate's a little
Nate's awakening.
An awakening.
How apt of a name. Idle Hands is Nate's awakening.
So, it was, I think, 2013. The first time I tried to meet Bruce Campbell was at a Horror Hound convention. and I didn't understand how the
Mm.
con worked. I didn't realize you had to like pre-buy like photo op tickets and pre-buy like tickets for the line to get to meet him. So I screwed it up. But I had
Yeah, that's
brought
when things changed. Yeah.
I brought a copy of A Farewell to Arms to have him sign because I thought it would be so damn funny, and to have my heart broken when I realized the con and the way it was organized that I could not make that happen.
Oh,
I
sad.
know. Like, that was my nerd level of like,
Yep.
can we make it happen? And
I'm sure that's
then
not. Yeah.
I think it gets better because I believe in circa what 2015, 16, Charlie comes up to Ohio
Yes,
to
he
meet.
does.
It might have
Yeah.
been 2014, somewhere in there. I give him the copy of A Farewell to Arms to have him sign it because he came up to Ohio to meet Bruce Campbell, and I got denied.
At a book
He wouldn't
signing.
sign it.
The handler for Bruce Campbell, when we handed it to him, he went, no. I'm like, no. He's like, nope. I was like, what the heck? And he's like, nope. He will sign his book. So, because that was his. This is also funny because Pete was also at this same book signing, unbeknownst to
was.
either of us before
I
we met.
was. I couldn't see
And,
Bruce Campbell the entire time he was giving a speech because some tall jackass was standing in front of me.
Beard.
That's very
shaved
With
possible.
a
head.
beard and a bald head. That's a
Yeah,
big fat lie.
I've
You
ro-
were not standing in front of me. I just think that's funny.
No, I
It was just a
wasn't.
really
But it's nothing.
tiny area that he was at.
Honestly, we literally could have been standing next to each other.
We could
That's
have.
how wild
There's-
it is. It is because we were tucked into this alleyway between two buildings when he come outside to talk to us, and everyone like packed in around to hear him. And then they shoved him in the corner of this bookstore and then lined us out around the sidewalk to go in. But yeah, they denied us signing Nate's Farewell to Arms book again. He only got Bruce's book signed, so we gave that to Nate, and I got my
Thank you very
Army
much.
of Darkness Collector's Edition DVD
beautiful.
signed. So
I got my
you
pop
get something signed.
figure signed by Campbell.
Nice.
It was a bloody blue shirt with a chainsaw hand. Yeah.
Nice.
But not Farewell to Arms. That's sad. I would imagine that that's something he signs quite a bit. And he's like, I'm tired of this.
I just figured he would have gotten a good chuckle because, hey, why not?
It's probably done a million times. Mine has blood splatter on it.
Yeah, you got the blood spatter variant, but I've also got the Ash versus Evil Dead version of that
Got
pop.
that one. I've got the Army of Darkness Funko Pop.
Oh, that's a good one. See, that's the one I want. I like the Army of Darkness one. And on a podcast, everyone's enjoying
Our visual
us
aid.
showing each other our pops.
Oh, you got the
Yeah, that's the one I
Entertainment
couldn't
Earth
find that
exclusive.
one.
Yeah.
I actually own something that I think trumps everything you guys may have.
Oh, I can't wait to
So,
see it. Bring it.
It in my hand, and as a podcast, I'll
Oh,
share
it's in your
pictures
hand?
of this. It's in my hand. Yeah, it's okay, Pete. You can look. It is wood.
Okay.
Oh, you got
It's wood.
actual pieces of the cabin.
No way.
So, as it's known, the first cabin burned down, and no, Sam Raimi didn't burn it down. It burnt down a couple years afterwards. But
Yeah.
all that's left is
And it's on private
chimney.
property.
I have
You're
a
not allowed to go onto it. My last
Correct.
trip to Tennessee,
You're not allowed to go.
I really wanted to.
I have a friend that lives in Morristown. He does have a brick from the chimney. I won't say how he got it, but he does live in the area. But what I have is the cabin that they used for Evil Dead 2 for their exterior shots, because they filmed the inside a gymnasium. They built an entire like 2-story cabin, and that's how they filmed. But there was still an actual cabin and an actual work shed. And there was a guy, and I have his
You have proof
certificate
of
of
purchase.
authenticities for
Yeah.
all this. And there's a website that shows, and he salvaged every piece. This location has never been disclosed. It's 100% secret because the people don't want anything to do with it, and it's all gone. It was the reason this guy got it was he found out, and they said, you can come have what you want. We're getting ready to log the entire area, so there will
Oh.
be nothing left. So he took his money and went and got a box truck and equipment, and they actually took down the face of the work shed because that was the only thing really still standing. and they have now rebuilt it and they take it to conventions.
Nice.
But I have some of the lumber from the Evil Dead 2 cabin.
So
And,
glorious.
I have
That's
it for
sexy
like
as hell. Yeah.
I'm gonna make like resin-filled keychains with red and green resin mixed into them. So maybe you guys, if you're nice to me, will
We
get
might be
a
nice to
piece
you.
of the
I,
No
Evil
I-
Dead.
I
promises.
might be nice to you.
See,
Just a little-
no promises.
Just a little bit.
This is the impact that these movies have had on us, to
Yeah.
where we geek out over all the nerdy stuff that we have and to be able to meet the man himself and just like I remember seeing Spider-Man 2 in theaters and the Doc Ock scene where he's in the hospital and he comes alive and he starts like laying waste to the nurses and stuff.
Completely.
I'm just like freaking out because I'm like, oh my god,
Yes.
this is Evil Dead. Like,
Oh, for sure.
this is the horror elements happening right now, and like, even
There,
being
there
a
were
kid
parts
and
of that
realizing
that
you know,
newest Doctor Strange movie. It's like,
yeah,
oh,
like Doctor Strange has a
this
lot
is
of it too.
Oh, the
totally
Doctor
Evil Dead.
Strange
So
took
much
it to 11. Yeah.
so
Yeah,
much
he
Evil
went.
Dead in this for sure. And the fun of that is that it's in an unexpected. Even though Sam Raimi is directing it, it's still a little unexpected for folks that aren't indoctrined into Evil Dead franchise. They're like, what
Yes.
is this weird stuff?
Oh yeah, it was.
And like,
yeah,
oh,
it was a total
I know
like most people were
exactly what
probably
that
like,
means.
"What is this?"
uh-huh.
Yeah,
I'm one
and
of those
we're
people that-
watching it, and it's like, "Holy shit,
Oh,
it's
we're
Sam
all
Raimi!"
getting
And I
boners
love it
off
because
of
I
this.
know that there's a 12-year-old that's slowly getting into horror that's
Uh-huh.
gonna do what we all did. He's gonna eventually find out, like, oh, this guy made horror movies back in the day, and he's probably gonna find Army of Darkness first, or he's gonna find Evil Dead or Evil Dead 2, like, because those titles alone are so cool.
And
Like, to
then-
me, it's like when it comes to titles, it's literally like this, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Hellraiser. You knocked it out of the park with those titles,
And then this kid is going to
Right.
join us. Join us. Oh boy.
I mean,
All right, boys. Well, while we try to regain our souls back, I think now's a great time to,
thank you.
let's
Yes.
let's hit a
Let's
commercial
take a
break
breath
so
and-
we can regroup here, and Nate can get some more
Fan ourselves.
cotton candy beer, candy
I am
cane
not gonna finish
beer,
that beer.
whatever
Man,
it
How many-
is.
How many of those do you have, Nate?
One.
Good. That's pretty smart.
Okay. At least he only did one. All right, commercial break, boys. Here we go.
We'll be back following these messages.
Just how drunk are we gonna get?
Welcome to Good Beer, Bad Movie Night, where each month we drink finely crafted brews while watching terrible films in order to see just how drunk you have to get to enjoy them. So tune in and join Troy,
Killboy Kreitz.
oh, that was pretty good,
Thank you.
Dave,
I have the weirdest boner.
and Pete. IPAs are ales, meaning they are bottom fermented. Excuse me, they are top fermented. I f***ed that up. Try that again. As we drag Kathleen, kicking and screaming through an alcohol-fueled podcast dedicated to movies of questionable quality and the frosty adult beverages that help make them tolerable. Good Beer, Bad Movie Night. Clearly, it's the beer's fault.
Well, are we ready to take a look? Yeah. Oh, that's perfect! Oh, God. Got anything smaller?
All you need is a chainsaw for an arm and a shotgun to be just like Bruce Campbell in Evil Dead. Hail to the king.
Hey, isn't that supposed to be a chainsaw?
You want a piece of this? Yeah, I didn't.
Rated M for mature.
Come on, you freak.
Help!
Come on, take it like a man.
Chasing me!
Do you like horror movies?
Do you like hanging out with your buddy?
Do you like cracking jokes and having a good time?
Do you just like fun?
Well, consider checking out Spoils of Horror. We are an hour-long podcast that comes out every single week.
We're not doing reviews. We're just going to hang out, talk about the movies we love with each other, and hopefully the ones you love too.
covering everything from the popular, the lost, the forgotten, and the bizarre.
If you're looking for a good podcast and a good time, you're going to want to check us out.
We're on all major podcasting platforms, and you can find us on Instagram and Twitter.
Check it out. We'll see you there.
Welcome back.
I love how crazy and okay, so the cabin, I think the cabin is a TARDIS.
Oh, explain yourself.
Okay.
Because it's bigger
Yeah.
on the inside. It is
Yeah.
cavernous.
Yeah.
It is so clearly they built it like you said, Charlie, they built it on a
You
gymnasium.
could tell when the camera is like running through the cabin. If you look in the top parts of the shots, there's
Yeah.
no ceiling.
Well,
Yeah.
sure, whatever.
There's additional framing and
That's
that's
fine.
I mean, they learned from the first one where they filmed in a cabin how miserable that was. And it's like,
Cold
okay,
it
if
was,
we
and
just
this time they filmed in
Yeah.
North Carolina.
Yeah, and then it was like, okay, we can build it bigger for the cameras and still try to film it. I think really what does kind of kill it is that running sequence because it's like, holy shit, how big is this cabin? Like he runs between the walls, you know, it's just
But
this,
even like the movies in on the joke where like the entity kind of like loses him in the cabin, you know?
I love that sequence. I love when the entity it goes outside and then it's like, I missed him and keeps
Bam,
going.
he's out.
Yeah.
He's gone.
Whatever. I'll find him later, right? I love the absurdity of that. And if I watch a comedy, comedies don't land with me unless they're completely absurd, not stupid, not telling jokes, but absurd. And that's probably why I like Monty Python so much because they're absolutely ridiculous. Hitchhiker's
Absolutely.
Guide to the Galaxy is another one that it's like, this is absurd. And that's part of Evil Dead's charm to me, that of the absurdity of it, the absurd amount of blood, the absurd interior of the cabin, the relentless spirits that are attacking them, that they just don't stop. I mean, this movie doesn't pause to take a break for the entire 84 minutes.
That's true. Like
The
this
only
does-
break I think it sort of takes is when the daughter lands. You know, we don't see the plane actually land, but when she gets off the
Right.
plane and they talk about the Book of the Dead Pages and they head back to the cabin, that's the only 3 or 4 minutes of the entire movie that's kind of slow. Everything else is, you know, pedal to the metal, boom, boom, boom. I remember just watching it like just last night going, is this a 2-hour movie? It's 84 minutes. And
It
there
just
isn't a
packs a
minute
punch.
wasted. It is, it's the longest 84 minutes I've ever watched in the best possible way. Like I've seen some movies that move so slow.
Oh, you mean the complete opposite of Metal Storm?
Exactly.
Hey,
'Cause I think Metal
hey,
Storm's 84
hey.
minutes, but also translates to 7 hours and 52
Yeah,
minutes.
Stop it.
right. Right.
Stop it.
Nope, never.
Right now.
But like
Stop it.
even like what Pete's saying, like to go on with like how like Bruce Campbell just solo acting this. When you have him losing his mind and he's bouncing up and down, and you got like the light bulb fixture going up and down with him, and the way that he looks at it, and just like the cackling, and you have like the couch cushions moving and everything, and like you see the moment of insanity happen.
That scene might be the greatest descent into madness in
Yes.
history. It's amazing. Like you see his brain break right there as the cabin is totally pulling him down as far as sanity is concerned. It's just ripping his reality apart. It's so and Bruce Campbell does it brilliantly. And you got to give it to the actor and the director. I think Sam Raimi gets a lot of credit for saying, this is what happens. This is what's happening to you. Your brain is completely melting. The scene where he sits down in the chair and tries to scream, and he's just I mean, how many nightmares have you had where you can't scream? That's what Bruce Campbell was experiencing, and I think that translates to the audience. Like, well, yeah, I wasn't being assaulted by demons, but yeah, I think I know what's happening there. It's the inability
No.
to.
It's like an
release the
adrenaline
terror.
overdose.
Right.
Yeah.
It plays it so well
Yeah.
as to showing like as absurd and campy as it is of the real horror that's happening. Like even when he's talking to himself in the mirror and it grabs him, was like,
That
we
is
just cut our
such-
girlfriend up with
That's-
a chainsaw.
Oh,
but that was so brilliantly shot that you didn't know that was Campbell's stunt double looking into the mirror. And when Campbell comes out of the mirror to grab himself, that was genuinely frightening.
Yeah.
When I first saw him, like, whoa,
Yeah.
how did you do that? It's all practical. There ain't no digital nothing going on here. No CG. It's camera
Nope.
trickeration.
It
Oh,
literally jumps right
brilliant.
out of it, man.
Genius.
And it's one of the subtlest things about this movie. And upon watching it, like Pete, I watched mine twice. I watched it regularly, then I watched it with the commentary because I just want to kind of get into their heads. Was you come to this point while watching this going, the entity's just messing with him. We literally watched it burst through every doorway in the house. No door's going to stop it. It can just take someone over by a mere touch. It just wants to mess with you. It wants to break
specifically like
your
him for I think
mind.
surviving the first one. I think now it just wants to have fun with him.
It's having a good time.
Yeah.
It's like, hey,
It's having a blast.
Because like you said, yeah, that's one of the things that I love, and I know some people get annoyed with the Evil Dead series. It's like there's kind of no rules to the Deadites and how they work. You know, it's just one moment you're fine, and then like you get touched or maybe you get stabbed, and it's like it transfers to that next person, like Ed.
Or it
really,
only
Ed
possesses
just
a hand
turns.
instead of your whole body.
Yeah.
Like, what's that weirdness? But
right,
that's part of the charm.
But that's the beauty of this is it doesn't need rules. That's what makes it scarier too. Is
it has
there's
no rules to
no
follow.
rules
So
as
how do
to
you
if
defeat
I shoot this deadite, if I shoot the deadite between the eyes, movies have told me I should be able to defeat it. No. Even in the first one, it was like you got to chop them up into a million pieces.
Right.
That rule went out the window because all the parts still move around, and if you don't like stop the head from biting you, it can still do that. And then the hands running around, and Henrietta was dead, buried. She comes back.
It brings her back. And then it like transforms her.
Yeah. And there's also the whole thing that what put the entity to sleep between the doctor reading the incantation and causing Henrietta to awaken to going back to sleep before Ash replays the tape player. Like what rule are we following now? Was the entity setting a trap, or why didn't the entity take over when it was just the doctor and the old lady? It wasn't like they needed the blood of Ash. They did try to add the whole, the savior, which leads into the third movie.
I absolutely
but
love
there was
that
this whole, and I guess,
drawn
oh yeah,
it's got a
and I
blue
guess
shirt,
you could
right?
kind of infer that maybe that's why the entity is messing with him or having trouble. Like he can't quite take him because he is the chosen one, but we don't know about Army of Darkness yet, so it's like there are no rules right now. Later we can set a rule and it make it make sense, but now there is no rule. Ash's face is in the demon at the end, that comes through the doorway that has all the other souls trapped into it, like the Nightmare on Elm Street thing with all the faces. And in my mind, like I heard him talk on the commentary, even Sam and Bruce are like, is that my face? Why is my face on there? I survived. And I dug a little deeper going, yes, but it had your soul for a while. So is part of his soul still trapped, because they tie into that a little bit in the third one, because we get Evil Ash. So it's like, maybe it took a part of him. So again, no rules. You can,
and
nothing I said right there ruins the movie.
No. we're talking about a book as well. Like these movies only cover certain pages of a book. So that's where it's like,
Yeah.
there's so much like wealth here. And like, I know we're getting Evil Dead Rise next year, and that is going to be taking place in an apartment, like tower. And I am so stoked because like the cabin's great, but now let's add 30 floors. And
Okay.
each floor is a cabin, essentially.
No spoilers.
There's
Stop it.
so much room for possibility there. So much.
It's not out yet, Pete. How can we spoil it? We haven't seen it.
I haven't seen or read anything about it. Anyway, go on, jerk.
Well, technically, we haven't either. It's a poster and a couple things. All I can say is go watch Sweet Tooth on Netflix. You guys both still need to watch that. If you
I need to see
seen
Sweet
it yet.
Tooth. So
Yeah,
okay, so
it's
going back to the
J horror.
Yes, going back to the Doctor Who reference, maybe all this has already happened. So the prophecy in the Necronomicon clearly has already happened. So the evil dead, the Deadites are tormenting Ash in the future, knowing very well that all the stuff in the past has already happened, even though it hasn't happened to Ash yet. And as he gets tossed back in time,
but they know that he's going to defeat them.
They've already been defeated by him in the past.
Now we're getting into time paradoxes.
I know.
I'm going to tell you, I didn't pay that much close attention to Hot Tub Time Machine.
That is where you get all of your time travel information.
I'm full of shit here, so I'm off the cuff.
I thought everyone did.
Now, I feel like Pete could write the philosophy of Evil Dead, the book.
I've done some good fan parody.
But no, you make a good point. Yeah. So it's kind of like things have happened, yet we're watching it unfold, and that can't happen until this does happen. But it also defeats the purpose of, well, then if we let him go back, we lose, but somehow they had to be brought back in order to try and stop him. Welcome to time travel in movies.
Like if he doesn't go back, then we don't get to exist.
He tries
now.
to kill John Connor.
Right.
Yeah.
So they kind of they can
Back to the
screw them all
Future.
they
We
want,
disappear,
and they let him defeat them. Quotes, and then
maybe they
back.
look at it like a redo. Like
right. I don't know. Totally.
This is their
we're getting way too deep into this.
Way too deep for Evil Dead 2.
We lost Pete. Pete down a rabbit hole.
You know what else is deep?
And what else is deep, Nate?
And cold?
It's when Jake gets pulled down into the cellar, and
I
then
love that
all
so
the blood just starts to splatter
I
over
I've
the
been wanting to
place.
talk about this. Oh, it's so good.
Yes.
Because so I can't. I'm so
He doesn't get turned into a deadite. This man gets brutally murdered.
He gets eviscerated. He gets liquefied.
Yeah.
So one of my favorite parts of this movie is that it was so hot there. People are just like on edge. And one of the funny things is when the redneck, I can't remember these guys' names. Jake. When Jake gets stabbed by the gal, whose name is, thank you very much, Nate.
Annie or Bobby Joe?
Oh, the lead.
Annie. She
when
stabs.
Annie's dragging him.
She stabs Jake, and when she's dragging him, she's wearing shorts, so she can't wear any sort of knee pads or any sort of shin guards as she's trying to drag this 200+ pound man, and she's what, $120 at most.
Yeah.
So she's giving it her all, and I think that was the second or third take that they had done. And as he's groaning and groaning and crying, ow, it hurts, there's a part where she says, "Shut up," and that is 100% improv.
Because she's tired of dragging his ass after doing all these takes.
Pissed off at Rami and everything that was going on, and he's griping and crying like a baby. Well, of course, he's got a knife stuck in his belly, and she screams, "Shut up!"
Well, yeah, he has to act like he's dying and in pain, and she's doing the other fun part about. Yeah, she was a dancer before she was doing all this,
Oh,
like from a
really?
younger
Okay.
age, and she had messed up her knees
Yeah.
really bad.
So she had messed up knees trying to
That
do
was
this.
adding to this whole thing
It
she
was-
was doing.
It was so real because it
torture.
was real.
It was
She
torture.
was genuinely pissed. And then the best part of it is
Yeah.
she drags him next to the, the root cellar. oh, you'll be safe here, Jake. And then
I love
we
that.
get Nate's favorite.
Yes, when we get that blood, but like all these actors that weren't Bruce Campbell, if I remember correctly, none of them had seen the first Evil Dead, so none of these people knew what they were getting themselves into.
I think you're right. Yeah, of all the commentaries I read it or seen or listened to, they were all like, no, I never saw it before.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Bobby Joe, this was her first movie
I'm pretty sure
ever.
though, but that is like, yeah.
Bobby
Frankly,
Joe's first
that's
movie
not
ever.
so
I'm pretty sure it's like for their
process.
audition.
That's not so surprising because when was this filmed in 86, 84?
I think
86.
86. I mean, VCRs
Well, it came out in
Came
87.
out in 87, so 86.
VCRs are still a little bit dodgy, and but when they were filming this, was earlier than that, quite a few years earlier than that. Why would they have seen it? I mean, VCRs.
The
were not
first movie
common
was
back
not
then.
widespread.
And it
That
was not
that was the
widespread.
whole
There-
other thing was
There was not such a thing as Blockbuster or even
No.
Video Connection or whatever. So, I don't. It doesn't surprise me that these people had not seen the movie before they signed up for it.
And then I would have to imagine. So you do the audition, you have no idea what you're doing. Like I think I watched one where the guy was like, "Look, I just get lines, and I read them, so I don't even know the context of the movie." So if I'm making a movie and I'm gonna be like, "All right, this is a sequel. I know you guys haven't seen it. Let's watch the first one." We have a night that we all sit down and we watch the first one. That movie still doesn't prepare you for what you're about to go through for Evil Dead 2.
No,
At
not
all.
when you're gonna have those nights of you getting covered in like 50 gallons of blood.
Which is
Or-
exactly what happened there, right?
That one is basically a horror movie, 2 is a dark comedy. So even they're like why is Bruce hitting himself with pots and pans and glasses? Why is it green blood? Why is it black blood? You know, there has to be points where they're just like, what is this guy doing? Just riding that wave. And then whenever they see the whole thing put together, light bulb goes off and you're like, oh, okay, this guy really knew what he was doing at the time.
The whole time.
Yeah, he was editing shots as he was filming them. He knew where he was going to cut as he was doing shots. He was like, okay, I'm going to do this one up to this point. That's going to transition into this section of the movie. That guy was doing it in his head. No, you know, they made him write storyboards. That's how insane it got, because they're like, we don't know what you're thinking.
Rami did storyboards, which was the first time
he
he
did
had
his
done
own
them.
drawings of them. If you ever see the drawing of the Evil
This
Dead,
is
the first one he did them.
His storyboard.
Yeah, it is.
It's like, I'm not sure if he could draw as well as I can, and I can't draw for shit. They're delightful though. Like I want an entire book of just his Evil Dead 2 storyboardings. Oh,
yeah, like
man.
he
I'd
gets
pay
the
good money
message
for that.
across.
Mhm. Mhm.
One of my favorite things in the commentary stuff I was watching, because I went down the rabbit hole, and I was just like, I wanted to know more.
Oh,
And I think it's Greg Nicotero was on the commentary talking with him, and he told Sam and Bruce that he was getting ready to do a movie with Robert Rodriguez. And Robert Rodriguez was explaining something to him, and he goes, "Oh, you mean like Evil Dead 2?" He goes, Yeah. He goes, "I worked on that." He goes, "Shut up." And he's like, "No, I worked on that. I have film from working on that." He had Robert Rodriguez come over to his house and watch 6 hours of behind the scenes footage of Evil Dead
I want
2.
to be there.
And Robert ate it all
I
up.
want to be there
Like,
so bad.
More, you have more? Where's more? I need more.
God, to be a fly on the wall.
This
of
movie
that.
has had an influence on so many people. Yeah. This movie has influenced so many writers, directors, special effects people, even people that you wouldn't even expect. Like I watched this movie, and I had seen the House movies before I watched the Evil Deads. And so I'm like, oh, okay, they're doing the whole like going insane scene from this, Evil Dead 2 reminded me of House. But really it's not. Like House came out first, but it was the house being possessed and just being something funny. Sam Raimi took it that step forward, like you guys were saying, that it literally felt like a descent into madness, which is what the House movies didn't do. The house was just effing with the guy. This house is literally trying to kill Ash, and it's having fun while doing it. So it's just so many influences that, even now as we watch movies where you're like, yeah, it's an Evil Dead homage. Yep, that guy watched a lot of Sam Raimi movies growing up.
It's a lot to live up to.
You can spot it a mile
boy.
away now. And like even the special effects for it being 1987, like Henrietta still looks terrifying. Still looks great. All that makeup,
even
they
the
put
stop
on
motion
Ted,
part of her.
Yeah, the stop motion part, and then when we get to the apple tree face guy that comes to life,
Yep.
Right.
that looks great. I mean, those are giant practical effects sets being made, and they're all spraying blood.
So that
Yes.
the apple tree at the very end, did you hear what happened to it?
No.
Yeah, it got left behind
Oh.
because it was too big to transport back to Hollywood. So they left it behind somewhere in the backwoods of North Carolina. Is that right?
Yep.
North Carolina. Yep.
And somebody found it and brought it to a haunt, I think it was, or an amusement park. Was it?
It was a couple years later. Sam Raimi, for some reason, was around that area, and he goes, well, "We left the head here. I wonder if it's still here."
Uh-huh.
And
They
it
couldn't
wasn't,
find it.
and
Yeah.
they couldn't find it. And it was later on they found out that a haunted house attraction found it, and it had been inside of a haunted
they
house.
didn't
What
buy
a
it, they
lucky
just-
bastard.
Yeah, no shit. So
Yup.
this giant person-sized head has been sitting in a haunt in North Carolina.
No.
It was
Not person
amazing.
size head, person head. The head is the size of a person, like
the head that is the
6,
size of a
7
person.
feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I said that wrong, didn't I? It's all right. Whatever.
I think you said it right, but it's also like, well, I have a
Let's
person
clarify
size
that.
head,
Right,
Pete.
That's
We
fair.
all
I'm
have
all right
person
with
sized
that.
heads, Pete.
Except for Nate. It's a little odd.
Yeah, it's a little tiny.
It's-
But packs a big punch.
I won't challenge your head, Nate, ever.
No challenge in the head. All right, boys. I don't want this to be a 2-hour one, even though it's well deserving of a 2-hour. So we get to the end of this movie with the giant head. They read the incantation to stop the entity, but they don't. It's not an incantation to stop the entity. It's an incantation to send the entity back in time. Let it be past us's problem, where there's less people that he has a greater chance of taking over. I don't know the book's logic on that. Pete, don't go down that rabbit hole again. I already see your brain turn.
Yeah, you're like, well, the philosophy of going back in time.
Pete's like, I totally left out the
It's
aspect
already
that the
happened.
entity also went back with him. Therefore, the entity is completing its full circle surround, but it has now gained the knowledge of now times, but Ash also has. We're not doing
The knowledge of the present can sometimes come back from the past.
Don't worry, Marty McFly will still get to play at the prom for his mom. His mom and dad will still get together and have mini flies, and it's all good. So we get, quite honestly, probably because of how much I love Army of Darkness, my favorite scene in the movie, medieval times, which is also just, if I hadn't seen Army of Darkness and I only watched this, I'd be like, what the hell is going on?
That's the one thing where I wish I could have seen these in order. That way I could have had that. Well, now what? Are they going to make a sequel? Like,
I think it made it better, though, because I'm watching Army of Darkness and then watching Evil Dead 2 going, I have no idea how they're going to line these movies up until everything lands in medieval time. And you're like, oh, now I
this is a
get
better
it.
job at it than what Ninja Turtles 3 did.
Stop it. Medieval time. And
Yes.
now we're Ash is surrounded by knights. They treat him like the savior.
Yeah, because a winged deadite comes down and
Yeah.
he blows its face off
He
with
blows
a double
his
barrel.
damn head off.
Which that's
I
something we can't
love.
gloss over. This
No.
movie gives us one of the most badass action movie moments of all time of him getting the chainsaw, attaching it to his hand, and creating the sawed-off double barrel.
Yeah, the A-Team montage. That's how this works. You got to have the A-Team. We got to build some cool shit montage and then use it
The
against the bad
rev
guys.
of the chainsaw and just that beautiful groovy.
The Ash
Groovy.
Williams hero's journey is that's tough to eclipse. That is he went from a bumbling coward to a badass back to a bumbling coward. If you ever watched the TV show,
Yeah, if you go back to the, you know,
Yeah, in the show, he has found a way to just become dumber.
but
dumber
then
and
they
bumblier.
kind of redo the whole hero's journey though. It's like he peaked, then he
Yeah,
fell
yeah.
down, and now he's on
Yeah.
a journey to
Yeah.
regain his
To
glory.
redeem
Oh,
himself.
that
A
TV show is
redemption
so good.
show. It is.
If
I
you-
really enjoy it.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you like Evil Dead in any way, shape, or form, please give Ash versus the Evil Dead TV show a shot.
Yeah, because
you
you
haven't
didn't watch
already.
it when it first aired, and that's why I got canceled, you assholes.
Yeah, right.
It was on Stars.
Yeah, that
Better
was his
let-
problem.
Really on
It
Stars.
should have not been on Stars. And now it's on Netflix, is where it should have started in the first
It was
place.
always on
Because then we could have had Cobra Kai of it.
Cobra Kai versus Evil Dead.
Yeah.
I'd
Evil
be
Dead
down for
wins
that.
every time.
No, that Cobra Kai actually fights Evil Dead. That's what
Yeah,
we want.
Evil Dead wins.
No mercy to
No,
the Deadites.
no mercy to the Deadites.
No mercy.
You're not
to
the
Cobra
Evil
Kai.
Dead isn't gonna take down Johnny. Don't even try it, man.
Yeah, Johnny would kick every Deadite's ass so hard.
He drinks so many beers with Ash. It would be fantastic. I'm in for this.
Okay.
We got
Johnny
new
and,
fanfic.
Johnny and Ash hanging out drinking beers. I might watch that.
And they're talking about the good music of the good old days. Oh, man.
Watching Iron Eagle, all that good stuff.
That's
Yes.
what it is. Like, they're getting drunk on the couch, just watching movies together, and like,
Ash goes out there and sees Johnny's Trans Am, and he's like, groovy. You know,
he's
that's
like, I got
just-
a Delta.
I got a Delta 88. And Johnny be like, yeah, my dad had one of those. And Ash kind of looks at him sideways, like, I can't believe you just said that to me, kid.
Look here, son.
We just did an entire fanfic right there.
You're
ladies and
welcome,
gentlemen.
Netflix, for these ideas.
Make it
Yeah,
happen.
come on,
Netflix.
man. That's all that's going to happen. I have a lawyer. Don't worry, Netflix. Anyway. All right, man. That's Evil Dead 2, and the best way we could do it without making it a two-parter.
Are we done? Oh, we can't be done.
Oh no, we're not. We're not done.
Okay,
We
good,
just
good.
we have things to
I wanna-
do.
I want to hold on here.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I want to go watch the 2 again. That's why I'm trying to get out of here.
he's like, I want to go watch them now. Well, let's do what everyone's waiting for doing Evil Dead 2. Let's do the Raining Bloods.
So it's got to be pretty low, doesn't it? I mean,
It's got to be.
Well, it is.
Yeah,
But
okay.
first, I want to point out that our Raining Blood intro music is brought to us none other than by Fede Alvarez's Evil Dead remake. That whole sequence of Raining Blood is from the end of that movie. So we
That's
are
right.
purveyors of Evil Dead here always. We're not just posers.
It's
We have
that's
always
called
loved
a callback, kids.
That is.
I think. I don't know.
So this was kind of difficult. And it's because we have established some rules on this show that we are finding out that some movies don't give a shit that we have rules.
Some movies just don't have rules, it seems.
So
Even though we established them, that
If
way
any
they would be
movie
followed.
yeah.
doesn't have a rule, it's this one.
Yeah, which we had a fairly long discussion about the non-rules of Evil Dead. So this should be, par for the course. So on the surface, there should be 5 deaths in this movie based on our rules. So all of the new characters, the two couples, and then Ash's girlfriend.
But okay, go ahead.
But that's our 5 that we see alive and die.
Okay.
That's who we see. We have an asterisk because we do see Henrietta.
Yep.
We don't see her die because she does die and gets buried in the cellar.
Mm-hmm.
Now she's dead when she comes back.
Right.
As the Henrietta demon.
Yeah, but the demon doesn't count, right?
That our
I feel like the demon counts though, because she does die.
So does Ash's girlfriend count as 2 because she dies and then dies again?
I
see
think
that.
so.
See, that's where we
dead.
start getting a little convoluted here.
And then what? Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say.
And then what about the father? What about?
We don't know.
Yeah, he's dead, and he comes back as a ghost, so we don't see him die. But
we don't know how he died.
No.
Nothing is explained on his death other than he buried his wife because she turned.
Right.
And I think he's the one that tells us that you have. No, I think it's in the first one where we find out about dismemberment because he didn't chop up Henrietta.
The first one, dismemberment is the first one.
Is the first one, so they don't bring that
do
back
that
up
in the second one.
So I was watching like a lot of the kill counts, and they go anywhere from 7 to 8 and stuff like that. So I'm like, they have to be counting things like double killing some of these characters.
And Ash sort of dying.
See, there's like a little half asterisk because he does get took over. He comes back
because of love.
His face is in the giant crabapple monster, so it's like it's very, it's very weird. But because of how weird this was, I decided to do some very first. Give me back my horror movies math.
Ooh.
Oh, I don't like this.
I don't like math.
No, math.
We have to do math.
I'm like this.
You can do math.
Well,
I'm not doing math.
Thankfully, I've already done the math for us. Okay.
Yay!
Yay! Problem solving.
So, it's what I do here.
Pawning work off on someone else.
In looking for the information about the body count and everything, the first thing that almost always pops up with the Evil Dead is Fede Alvarez's Evil Dead used 50,000 gallons of blood, and it has like, wow, it's insane what they did. But the original record holder, I think before Dead Alive was Evil Dead, the first one. It used 200 to 300 gallons of blood.
That's a lot.
That's what they used in the first one. So I dug. I went, how much blood did Evil Dead 2 use? Well, I don't give a shit about Fede Alvarez. I'll deal with that when I cover that movie. Well, Evil Dead 1, I can't find it. So I'm going to go off some basic thoughts of they have more money. That equals more blood. They used 500 gallons of blood. Let's make the math easy. So our raining blood in all actuality, because the human body contains at least 1 to 1.5 gallons of blood in an adult. So we're going to go off adult numbers. In order for Evil Dead to happen, 333 people had to die.
It's funny, as you're doing this, I'm like, I bet I can find Evil Dead 2's blood use. And then instead, I somehow find Evil Dead Rises amount of blood.
Yep.
But that's not even out yet.
And then you'll get Fede Alvarez. And then you'll get Evil Dead. And then you'll get Brain Dead. That's I went down the rabbit hole.
Progression.
I'm gonna let you know right now, Evil Dead Rise uses a lot of blood.
Oh yeah. I will
Holy shit.
I will say this though, for anyone that thinks they're gonna get like new records, it better be practical blood. We do not count CG blood.
No, CG blood does not count.
No.
0.
That's why Fede Alvarez's works so well, is because they soaked that place in blood at the end of that movie. They are swimming in blood. So that's why it holds. That's why they make such an impact. That's why our rating system is raining blood. So let's do the equally difficult kill of the week, boys.
Oh gosh, this is going to be so hard.
What do you think?
Pete.
Zombie kill of the week?
You
oh,
picked
damn
it.
it! You got to start with me.
Now, you know what? Pete picked it. So,
All right, no, I'll go.
you want to go? Okay.
I'll go. I haven't asked. I have a secondary, but
There's only like 5 kills in this thing, so we're going to go through all of them.
Yeah, we
All
can't
right.
do that.
Pete
all right,
picked it, so he gets an honorable,
my
but we
favorite-
don't.
I get an honorable, but my favorite, I think my absolute favorite, because it was the most horrific, was when Bobby Joe got pulled through the forest and she had vines sticking in her face, and that was a reverse
Yes.
shot where
Reverse camera shot, yeah.
They pulled the vines out of her face but showed it in the film going into her face, and it's gross.
It holds up.
It really does, because
it really does.
She's on a treadmill, like or a device that is a
dolly.
treadmill.
Yeah, she's on a
and
dolly that's being
it's
drug
zipping
on
under
rails.
her, looking like she's traveling through the forest. It's brilliant the way this is all set up and shot. But I think that whole the horror of that, as you try to put yourself in that woman's place, that's horrific. As you're being pulled, there's nothing you can do, and these things are gouging into you, Hellraiser like, and ripping you apart, and then she's gone and you don't know what happened to her, and it probably wasn't good.
No, yeah. I like that one.
That's hard. That was a hardcore kill that you don't actually see, but you're like, oh honey, I'm so sorry.
It was their apology for the first one, so we don't have to dig into that one. But that's why they did it that way.
I can't defend what happened in the first one.
No.
I can sort of defend what happened in the first one. I've got a theory about that. Anyway, go ahead.
That will save it for the first one.
Right.
All right, so Nate, you want to go or you want me to go?
You go, because it's the horse show, so I gotta go last.
Oh, okay. Now we have rules all of a sudden.
There are rules to the podcast.
There are no rules.
So I'm gonna do things a little bit different on mine. I'm gonna bend the rule. I'm not gonna quite break it. So my kill of the week is Linda, his girlfriend, but not when he cuts her head off. It's the headless version of her that bursts into the woodshed with the chainsaw. And then he pushes the chainsaw into her torso, and she is literally this flapping Kermit Muppet of dead body corpse. And her dismembered head is in the vise yelling at them the whole time. I love that.
The only thing that would have made that better if she was yelling at her body saying, kill him, damn it.
Yeah, they kept doing the whole, like, we will get you, we will do this. I would have preferred her to do the whole, if they're going to do comedy, yell at the body, now come over here and pick me up. Get me out of this thing, And I like that, even though, he does run the chainsaw through her head and it's in shadow because, hey, we're shooting for an R rating here. But the dummy, because it kicks that door in and just with the chainsaw.
And it's so surprising.
It's
like
one of the greatest horror scenes of all time because it's so ridiculous.
It's even better when you watch the behind the scenes of the special effects, because you hear Sam in the background going, okay, hit him. Harder, up higher, harder, now more wild, spin around in a circle, hit him now, and it's just insanity.
I love the story. It's one of the special effects guys when they do the storyboard. They're like, oh my god, this sounds terrifying. Like they're gonna have this headless like corpse come in with a chainsaw and attack the lead, and then they're filming it. And they're like, what?
Yeah.
And like you see the chainsaw bending over and over again.
Oh, it's so floppy. It's so floppy, but I don't care.
Don't worry about
that. That's my kill of the week.
Well, this is gonna be short and easy because it's mine too. So.
Yeah.
I have always loved that scene so much.
Wow.
The only thing close is like Ed's getting just completely axed.
Well,
to
that's
death,
right.
See,
that
if
was
they
my
had
man.
if they had left Ed actually getting dismembered like they had planned, that would have been like second tier kill right there. You know, Henrietta's head exploding is really cool.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
But we get it again with the Deadeye at the very end that's
Here's
flying.
what's great, though. In my VHS copy, when you open it up, the clamshell, and like
Mhm.
you can pull out the sleeve, it has a picture of a dismembered Ed, like all the body parts being
Oh,
cut up.
there were production stills. There was a section like when he cuts part of his head off, that was still supposed to be like a puppet. And they had even made where his brain is like super tiny, so the saw
Or-
didn't cut through his brain.
Yeah, like Ed or
Yeah, it was for Evil Ed.
Evil
and
Ed,
it like
right.
shrunk his brain down. That's how the body's still moving. And they didn't use it. Even Sam Raimi, that was part of the commentary where he's like, damn it, why did we keep trying for an R? We should have just said F it and went for, you know, you're scared of contract. That word gets thrown around and you're like, yeah, you tried to, it's different when you go, you tried to make it R and I don't want you to cut it anymore, which is what happened. They were like, no, I don't want you to cut it anymore. We'll do a whole different production company. But when
They
he
made a
tried
shell
for
company.
yeah, Rosebud.
Rosebud.
So funny. All right, boys, let's get to next best.
Wait, I have
what?
an asterisk.
Oh, that's right. Pete has an asterisk.
I have an
Asterisk.
asterisk. The stunt maybe that was my favorite. That wasn't really a stunt because it surprised me so much. Like, oh shit, that can't be real, and it turned out it wasn't. But Bruce Campbell getting pulled out of the Delta. when he
the
hits
car wreck?
tree
Oh,
was one of those moments in horror. I watched Halloween Kills last night.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry is exactly
boo.
boo is right. But when the nurse, she's actually a doctor, but the lady dressed up as a nurse, when Michael Myers slaps the gun in her hand,
that's
and
a great
it turns
shot.
on her and she shoots herself.
Yeah.
I went, whoa!
That one's out of nowhere. It does
Like,
have some
whoa!
decent kills.
Totally, that was awesome. I mean,
The movie sucks, but they had some
movie-
decent kills.
there, there were good and bad parts of the movie, mostly bad, but there were some good parts. That was certainly good, where it surprised me to the point where I had a visceral reaction to it. And that
was a good
I
jump.
went- I went, whoa! It didn't
Yeah.
scare me. I'm just like, I couldn't believe it happened.
You're not expecting it. It's an
No,
audible,
not at all.
like,
Which is exactly what the whole pulling the dummy out of the Delta through the front windshield. That was Ash Williams.
Yeah.
I love that scene because it is so well shot from Ash to dummy.
Yeah.
It also is very visceral. It's also like, whoa, is that
Well,
really
it's
him
so
getting-
much happening because the entity's chasing the car.
It's
He's
frantic.
going backwards. He spins it around. He
Mhm.
goes forwards. He's getting smacked with tree branches because he's driving through the thing.
Which
and
is
the
just Sam
It's
slapping
Sam
Bruce.
smacking Bruce. But the way they shoot it is you're in Bruce's seat. You're seeing him, and the camera instantly cuts just a fraction of a second before the impact of the outside of the car. So you see that impact, and then all of a sudden the dummy goes flying out. And
Oh,
it's such a fluid motion that you're like, whoa, he just
the
flew out of
editing
that car.
is
Oh,
so
it's
good.
It's
so good.
perfection.
It
It's
doesn't
perfection.
Right. And Sam Raimi, man, is he a genius? I don't know, but that's
Sure. Everyone else can call themselves geniuses,
With-
so Nate does it all the
with
time.
I
with
do.
the budget that he had, the foresight that it's so good. That's my asterisk. He didn't really die there, but that
Probably
stunt-
wished he did.
Oh man, it was so good. So
All right,
that's
boys. Well, let's do our the next hardest thing I guess we got to do is actually put a number to this bad boy. Let's rate it.
Ooh.
Guys, it's okay. He just wanted his machete back.
I just saw that. I just watched Jason X the other day.
Oh, did you?
I did. I went back to it. I was like, oh, that's where that's from. Because there's a million quotes from a million movies, and I don't remember them all. I'm like,
No,
oh,
you want to
that's
know
where you got that.
the birth of that was where Nate wanted us to have the machete scale. And I'm like, oh, that's no problem. I should be able to find a
machete,
sound
sure.
bite. No one says machete in any of the Friday the 13th movies or in Machete. Like, at all. They don't say the word. And so I finally
they
found
call him Machete.
they
they
call
don't
him, but it didn't work for what I wanted. And I was really looking for something that was like horror related, and I finally found that from Jason X because he goes, "I wanted my Machete back." I was like, "Done. That's it.
Easy.
That's our soundbite."
Oh,
all right, Pete, you picked it. Now you got to rate it. How many machetes
really
you going to
have to rate
give?
this?
You do. No one's going to judge you.
Gentlemen,
maybe.
Here's I've thought long and hard about this. Actually, it's about 3 minutes in the car on the way home today.
Close enough.
No movie is perfect. This is a 10.
Yes.
I
had a
only
feeling.
preface it with no movie is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
This movie is a 10. There's nothing about this movie that I don't like. Period. I'm done. Pencils down, beers up.
Yeah, we've gushed about it. We don't have to
me
explain
more.
why we've given these ratings.
Right. I don't need.
No.
I have nothing to explain. I just 10.
That is your score. There you go.
That's my 10.
I take it I got to go next, huh?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
This is actually probably more difficult for me because I am going to ruffle some feathers.
No.
That I like Army of Darkness more. It is Army of Darkness means more to me because I think mainly because I saw it first, but it struck a chord with me that I loved the sword and sorcery movies. I loved horror. It blended it all. I think this movie is deserving of a 10 scale. That means I have to give Army of Darkness a 10 as well. Is it a 10 movie? Not really, no. I think I'm going to err on the side of caution and give this one a 9. I'm giving it 9 machetes.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
I don't feel like anyone can be mad at me for giving.
I mean,
Evil
I'm a
Dead
little
2.
mad at him, but it's okay.
No, but
His
I
excuses
have.
are bullshit.
My only
You're fired.
mad is that you're like I always think that your 1 to 10 scale, anybody's 1 to whatever scale is for that movie alone, not up against any other movie.
Yeah.
No,
can't
I
put
mean,
it up against anything else.
You can't, but I do have to take it into
can, a lot of people do.
consideration. And we're not a review show. We're not. It's nothing like this. I'm giving you a number of how much I enjoy this movie.
Okay, then solid.
My enjoyment level is higher with another movie that's in this franchise. Basically, if I'm going to rewatch one, that's the one I've probably seen more. I'm not joking. I watch Army of Darkness
I'm not
constantly.
going to argue at all.
Yeah.
So
I've given a 9, and I feel like I got these eyes of daggers staring.
Yeah, you
at
do.
me.
You're right. You're right in the high country here. I mean,
I'm
Army
like
of Darkness,
right there.
Evil Dead. You're not wrong in either of those paths that you take. Let me tell you.
No. All right, Nate, come on.
Hey,
now.
what you got, baby?
It's easy. There's only 2 perfect trilogies that exist in this world. It's this and John Wick. So this is a 10.
Yes. Hey, I'm not saying John Wick is wrong, man. I think you're pretty close.
I am so tempted to edit to him saying 2 again.
No.
I wield all of the power.
So it depends on what my mood is, on which one is my favorite. Like it always rotates. Like I can't choose. I literally cannot. I think Evil Dead 1 is a fantastic horror movie. I think it is a great gritty horror movie. I think Army of Darkness is a fun comedy that is just so much zaniness and
an action movie.
It's just great.
It's closer to an action
works
than
so well on such a grand
which is
scale.
why
I like it. On the action side of the show. Evil Dead 2 gives me the best of both worlds. Like
you're not
Sam
wrong.
Raimi's one of the only people that can make a part 2 that is equally as strong as part 1. That doesn't happen. It doesn't happen often.
Rarely, very rarely.
Yeah, but you know
get
what?
Godfather 2, John Wick 2, Spider-Man 2. Like it's a hard thing to do.
See, my theory though is like Army of Darkness. This is the third one. Spider-Man 3, which is almost perfect. You know, all these great threes of the Sam Raimi universe.
Oh, yeah,
love
you only
watching-
go off the threes of the Sam Raimis.
I loved watching everyone's eyes go when I said Spider-Man 3.
I'm going to kill him!
Ash needed to dance. That's all there was to it.
That's all it was. Well, yeah, I mean, these are movies that I have adored. These are movies that have shaped my entire outlook on horror, on comedy. I mean, you put this is Nate. Like, it is, you know?
Nate personified.
Yeah.
That's why I like Nate, because this is Nate.
Yeah.
I mean, and let's give credit where credit's due. This is a perfect, like, spooky season movie to throw in and watch for the Halloween
I was so
time.
excited to watch this at
And it's a
night, just
little
laying in bed
advanced
and
for
having Evil Dead
kids.
2 on.
Like,
Yeah.
this is a teenager movie.
Yeah, this is like I'd let Anthony
Like,
watch this one. This one's right there.
I'm hesitant on my 9-year-old nephew. It's like, Army of
That's a little
Darkness,
young.
I'm cool, but
Yeah,
like-
Army of
like
Darkness is
everyone-
perfect.
If you could do Poltergeist, you can do Evil Dead 2.
Oh,
Even
yeah,
though I think
because it's
Poltergeist
very
is genuinely a horrifying movie.
Yep.
Whether this one is more entertainment than it is horror.
right. No, it's definitely there. We're working our way through the Child's Play right now, so we've got through Child's Play.
Hey, that first season
3.
of the new Child's Play, worth every minute of your time.
I need to start it. I need to start it. I haven't done it yet. We're
got
like I
it
said,
from the library. It's good. Nate,
we're
get it
working
from
through the
library.
movies, so we'll see how that goes for
I
this.
just
spooky
signed up
season.
for Peacock because it was like $2 a month for the next year, and I went, "Why not?"
I
So
refuse.
You're
I
gonna
refuse.
pay for Peacock
$2.
instead of getting it for free from the library.
I refuse
Hell,
libraries
support
as well.
The library. I need to support them. I get this. I need to find my card.
All right. Well, even though Nate loves to stick to the rules tonight, I think because of the type of movie this is, I say no trash opinion tonight.
No,
Nate.
you don't even get to say
No.
that. I say it. I say no trash opinions because
I
before
said
we
it.
started recording, I went, I'm
Are
not doing
there?
trash opinions.
No, no,
'cause
no.
Those people are terrible.
No,
and
no.
they do not deserve a spotlight.
No, you didn't just out and say that. I looked at you and went, trash opinions? And then
I
you
said,
went,
no.
no. I'm taking it off the soundboard. It's gone, and I'm not going to dig it back out. It's out of
Not
here.
happening. Not doing trash opinions on this.
That's fine. That's fine.
Good.
Those
No.
people are only trying to find internet clout, and I know
Those people already have no soul.
it. Exactly.
Their souls have been swallowed.
All right, guys. Well, that is our third.
It is our
entry?
third.
We got one more, don't we?
We have
Two
one
more.
more. Oh, yeah, two more. One more horror. We have one
Oh.
more action.
Oh, do I know what's happening at the action one?
Yeah. Oh, we've already announced it, so we can say it on this one. We're doing End of Days, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh,
Why you
okay.
look confused?
Yeah, it's where
I don't
Arnold
think I've
fights
ever
Satan
seen it.
himself.
Yeah, Arnold fights the devil. So I've seen Chuck Norris fight the devil. I'm getting ready to watch Arnold Schwarzenegger fight the devil. Yeah.
I gotta look at my calendar. I hope I can make that one.
I've sent you schedules, Pete. Sometimes
know
you just
you
got to
have.
open that thing up and look at it
Right.
once in a while.
Occasionally, when you send me the schedules, I'm like, I don't know that movie. Not interested.
Look at it's not a werewolf, and it's not werewolves with machine guns. You're safe. I think there's machine guns in End of Days. I know there's a
I
big
do
ass.
not remember.
There's
I
a
just know
big ass
that
gun
there's
and a big
fire.
ass sword.
It can't be any worse with demons with machine guns like Spawn. Ugh,
Ugh.
gross.
Oh, what is wrong with you two?
The animated series was way
No,
better.
the
than
animated
they gave
series
us
was
the movie.
That their movie is terrible.
Why you gotta bring up that, man?
Because I'm reviewing it on my other podcast. This
reviewing what? Spawn or the TV show?
the movie.
All right, so check us out for the rest of our spooky season movies. We do have one more secret movie that will come out on Halloween Day, October 31st. We are releasing one day early so that we are in October for our entire month releases. And it's going to be fun.
Because you are listening to this now, that means you have already seen our pretty faces covering Hellraiser on YouTube.
Right. We just don't know if it's good yet or not. So
We don't know if it's good yet or not.
Yeah.
So
let us know if it's good. That's what
Yeah.
We'll let you know if it's good because we're going to live stream it. So go back and check it out on the
You can go back
YouTube.
and watch it and see these pretty faces talk about suffering and
you're pretty
pleasures
faces.
and
That's right.
nipples.
You
Pete, you're allowed to come on the live streams. I mean, just letting you know, man. It's totally fine. You're allowed. I think he likes hiding in the chat though. That's where Pete like lives. Just in the little live chat to just poke at us from afar.
I don't want to be a troll, but I want to be like a piranha, like arr, 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 arr.
Taking little bites.
A slug or a slither. What was it?
We watch slugs.
We watch slugs. Pete's got to start remembering what movies we watched.
I don't.
That's right, man. Mike Brady, man. EPA.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know where I am right now.
No, we've all had quite a bit to drink at this point. So please, if you haven't already, go check us out over on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, like we just talked about. We are on just about every social media site there is out there. Nate may have an OnlyFans. I'm not 100% sure.
Still trying to figure out how the tax bracket works with it.
Yeah,
Once I
you
get
got to
that
be
figured out,
careful.
we're good. I got to figure out how you file taxes when you make the income from it.
I think you got to get a CPA. That's where that you
don't know what that is, so I will get my attorney on it.
It's a Monday because I'm a CPA.
Oh, so, and also please make sure you go check out all the other shows that are a lot more professional than we are over here on the Give Me Back My Podcast Network. We have Good Beer, Bad Movie Night with our man Pete in the studio with us right now. We have Monster Movie Stomp Down, Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling. I Know You Hear Me with Flynn Hendricks, which is also a perfect show to jump onto because they have now taken on Tales from the Haunt, interviews with actual haunt actors and special effects artists. And in spooky season, it's the perfect time to check it out if you haven't yet. Gentlemen, we have done it. Evil Dead 2 is in the books.
I don't want to let go. I want more of this.
I know.
Yeah,
I feel
talking about it.
I feel like we've left some meat on the bone that if we decide to talk about it again.
Evil Dead movies.
That's right. We can always refer back to this one when we cover the other ones, guys. So, all right, Nate, I think it's time to get us out of here with a classic. What do you think, brother?
Groovy.
Now, let's talk about how I get back home.
Nate, I think you need to pull out a classic and get us out of here tonight.
Give me some sugar, baby. I don't remember what my classic line was. What was it?
That's Army of Darkness, asshole.
It was groovy. Jesus
Is that what
Christ.
I used to say? I don't remember a year ago, dude.
I'd be like, get us out of here. And you'd be like, groovy.
Oh, okay.
Groovy,
Okay. That seems like something I would do. All right. So, like, again.